Alright, let's do this one last time. This is Earthrise Starscream. For the past 5 years, this has been the primary Seeker mold. I'm pretty sure you know the rest. Hello, fellow YouTubers. LEGO WC Stop Motioner here. Welcome to viewers new and old. And today, I'm going to be talking about all of the versions of the Earthrise Seeker mold that I have. And I think all the ones they made. I don't think there were any more characters made using this mold, but I'll put it up on screen if I forgot something. Yeah, I have talked about this mold a decent bit because I reviewed him once back in 2020. Then I reviewed the Thundercracker and Skywarp 2 pack. I re-reviewed Starscream in 2021. And then I reviewed Dirge in 2023. And, well, I felt I deserved this mold a more fair review because I felt in my original review of this Starscream that, as all you kids are saying, I glazed this thing. I was super positive about it. I just praised it so much. And over time, I kind of started to notice issues about it, things I didn't like that much. So then I re-reviewed it in 2021, where I pointed out more of the things I didn't like about it. But in my opinion, I overcorrected. I feel I was way too harsh on this figure when I re-reviewed it. So now I'm trying to go somewhere in the middle, where I'm give a review that's fair. I point out things I like about the figures, the things I don't like about the figures, and just try to be more fair about it, because as much as I want that new 86 Seeker mold, it's too expensive, especially since I already have all of these guys. So I'm just thinking about sticking with this mold, and as long as I'm doing that, I don't know. I just think it deserves a more fair review. So what I'm planning to do is talk about Starscream, Thundercracker, and Skywarp, since they're all basically the same, aside from some color changes in one section. Then I'll talk about the Coneheads in their own section, because there's some differences between them, but I kind of think of them as being the second set of this mold, if that makes any sense. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about the original 3 Seekers. Alright, so taking a look at the Jet mode. Like a lot of Jet Transformers, from the top, I think it looks really, really nice. Detail on it looks good. Coloration, I'm happy with. Translucent cockpit looks really appealing. Then you look at the side, and it's definitely not the worst Jet mode I've ever seen, but this doesn't look even. I don't know how to describe it. I've never been able to describe this properly, but you get what I'm saying. This part just isn't flush with the main part of the Jet, the nose cone area. And also, I really wish there was something that could cover this up, because seeing the head stick out through there just really kind of bugs me. Then underneath, again, far from being the worst Jet mode I've seen underneath for a Transformer, but it could be a little bit better. It does have the null rays though. I do wish these were a little more filled in. I don't get bothered about hollowness that much normally, and it doesn't bug me too badly here either. But it is kind of a bummer that when you're looking at the Jet from the top, you can just see the hollowness of the null rays. And then also a QC issue with this mold. The wings don't like to stay tabbed in. That's kind of annoying. All in all, though, it's not too bad of a Jet mode. I've seen way worse. Looking at you, Prime, Dreadwing and Skyquake, and Bumblebee Movie Blitzwing. Those Jet modes are horrendous, so good job, Earthrise Seeker. You're not as bad as those. And of course, Thundercracker and Skywarp. basically the same story. I do wish they'd done a different purple for Thundercracker's Decepticon insignia, because that can blend in a little bit in certain lighting. And also these are mismatched, these hinges right here. It's not a big deal, just something I wanted to mention. He does have the visible head, which is one of the things I really like about Skywarp, because he's already black, so the head blends in a lot better. So I would probably say Skywarp is the best looking jet here, just because, mainly due to that, just because the head blends in a lot better. And I really like his color scheme. So yeah, there we have the original 3 Seekers in their jet modes. Now taking a look at Dirge, Ramjet, and Thrust, one immediate advantage I see with these guys is that because their heads are the same color as their jet modes, their heads blend in much better in their jet modes. See, that looks a lot better. I really like Dirge. The blue looks nice. I like the color for the wings. The Decepticon insignia stand out. These do all have the same null ray weapon. They do still have the issue of it not looking super flush, but that's just kind of an inherent problem with this mold. I really like the look of Ramjet's jet mode also. Thrusters on the back look good. One thing that's interesting, these two had the black tips on the nose cones, but Thrust, for whatever reason, does not, which is kind of interesting. His is nice also. He's got the fan thingies here, and then some, I'm blanking on these jet terms, but these things kind of stick out to the side, just for a different look, and I appreciate it for that. So yeah, there you have the Coneheads and their jet modes. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and get these all transformed. I'm just going to cover it with Starscream, since they pretty much all transform the same way. And honestly, you probably know how this transformation works at this point. I mean, the mold that this is based on is, I think, almost 20 years old now. I will touch on the things that are a little bit different about the Coneheads, but not going to go into that great a detail about it. So let's just get this guy transformed. Now, despite not being the latest and greatest in terms of engineering, I do still think the transformation is pretty fun. So just go ahead and untab the wings and try not to pop them off. That can happen kind of easily also. You fold this hinge up and do the same on this side. And lift up this flap, open up the legs, untab the backs here, then fold them down. And collapse these, make sure these tabs go into these slots. Then disconnect the legs, flip this down, and tab this, then rotate it, fold it up, and fold the toe up, and just get this nice and level. Flip this up, do the same thing on this side. And go ahead, just kind of push these out to the side to free up the chest. Then fold these out, and then open up the forearms, then hinge them out, and fold that down, tab it in, fold the wrists out, do the same thing on this side, and then next go ahead, fold this down, hinge it up, then rotate this whole assembly, fold it down, and then make sure these tabs right here are lined up with these slots on the shoulders, and also make sure that this goes down in that slot. Then go ahead, untap the nose cone, hold it down, go and put the null rays on his shoulders. And there you have the Earthrise Seeker transformation. And main differences with the Coneheads. For Dirge, just kind of fold this down and fold the hinge up. And then just kind of, when you get these undone, just kind of angle these just really however you want. And also with the cone heads, you don't need to lift this up to transform them. These just cover up that section. Basically the same deal with Ramjet. Just flip these up and then angle these however you want. And then for thrust, you're just going to want to angle that up, keep the wings in this direction. And in these, you're not really going to do anything with these at all. Okay, now looking again at the 3 original Seekers, I'm going to mainly focus on Starscream. First off, the head sculpt, I think it looks good. That definitely looks like Starscream in my eyes. I think the red eyes look good. The silver paint on the face looks nice. He has upside down Decepticon symbols, but that is accurate, so I'm not going to harp on it too much. I like the cockpit sword in the torso. I think that looks good. He's definitely got more greebling than we see on modern figures, which personally, I didn't mind this. I like the idea of having kind of an overall cartoon look, like the general silhouette, but just adding more sculpted details. I liked when they did that, and I'm a little sad to see that kind of getting phased out. Now, biggest complaint with the look of this figure, obviously the nose cone hanging off the back. That is not a good look. It's not the worst, but I still don't like it. And what bugs me is that his sides are very hollow. I think it would have been really cool if they could have retooled this nose cone to split down the middle and then fold down, and that would have filled in these gaps, and we wouldn't have this nose cone hanging off the back. That would have been really, really cool. I wish they'd done that. Still, aside from the hollowness on the sides, which I don't hate too much, and the nose cone hanging off the back, the general look, it's decent. I think it's all right. Now, articulation, head is on a ball joint. You can look up, down, tilt, and look up the camera. You can look right and left. Shoulders can do a full 360, but they will collide with the wings. They can go out to the side. You have a bicep rotation, an elbow bend, smidge over 90. I'm good with that. And the hands don't rotate, but they can hinge up for transformation. I don't know what you're going to do with that, but if you love that type of articulation for whatever reason, it is there. Nothing at the waist. That also kind of bugs me. I feel like in this day and age, waist swivels should pretty much be standard issue. Not every figure has them, but it does kind of bug me when that doesn't happen. And then legs can go forward that far and back that far. And they can go out to the side. You have a thigh rotation, a knee bend. The knees do like to come untabbed when you do that, though. They go a little over 90. Once again, I'm good with that. And then there's also ankle rotation, I guess toe and heel articulation if you want to count that. So aside from the lack of a waist swivel, articulation is, for me, mostly up to standard. He does have wrist swivels, but wrist swivels aren't standard issue for figures, so I don't like that, but I'm not gonna knock this figure specifically for not having them. Now taking a look at the other figures, Thundercracker looks nice, but this guy does not feel great. The plastic feels very, very cheap. And I have proof of it because his right elbow cracked. I hadn't even had this figure for that long, and he cracked. So, yeah, that's not great. It really kind of soured me on this mold. But the overall look is still there. Now, Skywarp was my favorite in jet mode. I can't say the same for robot mode, mainly because of that head sculpt. I do not like that face sculpt. I'm all for Transformers having more expressions, but I want good expressions. This does not look good. It's screaming. I don't know why they did this. The rest of him, though, is pretty good. I think the sculpt and the overall deco looks nice. So, definitely rough around the edges, but the mold itself, I don't know, it's not as amazing as I initially made it out to be, but I also don't think it's as bad as I initially made it out to be. It's somewhere in the middle. It's decently good, I guess. So, let's go and take a look at the Conehead version of the mold now. Now taking a look at Dirge, Ramjet, and Thrust. I am tempted to say Dirge is my favorite out of these just because I really like his color scheme. But unfortunately, he's got the Skywarp issue where he's got that screaming face for reasons. I don't know why they were so obsessed with doing that. The rest of the head sculpt, though, does look good. I think the cone looks nice. And of course, he's got wings hanging off of his legs, but that is how he's supposed to look. Unfortunately, like Thundercracker, his plastic also just, I don't know, it just feels kind of cheap. Which is weird because Ramjet and Thrust, their plastic feels okay. So there was just something about like blue plastic they were using at this time or something that just did not feel very good. I don't know what the deal was. And taking a look at Ramjet, much better face sculpt because he's not screaming. He looks more grumpy. And he's got the wings also on his legs. He's got thrusters, so he's one of the few G1 characters that could fly in robot mode with it actually making sense. And then Ramjet, he's got yellow eyes, which is interesting. Don't see that a ton with Decepticons from G1, but that's probably because the rest of him is red, and that just would have blended in too much. Now these, you can configure in different ways. I'm partially tempted to do it like this because the Decepticon symbol is visible, but you can't really see it with his arm there, so I don't know. I'm gonna leave it like that. They do hinge also, which is interesting. I'm not entirely sure why that's there because that's not part of the transformation. I'm not gonna display them with them folded back like that. So, whatever. All in all, the cone heads are pretty nice, not perfect. They have pretty much all the same flaws that the other figures using this mold have, but they do look pretty nice. And yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for me with talking about the Earthrise Seeker mold. Just wanted to give a quick group photo before I got them on the display to give my final thoughts. Alright, so there we have the Earthrise Seekers with my G1 Decepticon display. I really need to rethink how I do this display, but I'm happy to have all 6 of them on it. So at the end of the day, do I recommend these figures? Well, I'll get into that in a second, but that wasn't really my goal for this review. As I said, my main thing was just to kind of give this mold more of a fair review, something that didn't make it seem like an amazing mold, because it isn't, but also something that didn't make it seem like a bad mold, because I don't think it's that either. I think it's just a decent mold. It's got some problems that I think could have been avoided, but the mold itself, it still accomplishes its goal. And as I said, as much as I want that new 86 mold, I think I'm just gonna stick with these guys. But that is my recommendation. If you don't have any of the Earthrise Seekers, then I would suggest just waiting and getting the 86 mold, because all of these characters plus more are probably going to come from that mold. And that mold does look really nice. It cleans up a lot better, and it has a waist swivel. Just all in all, definitely looks like a better figure. But I'm just kind of too committed with these guys. This mold, I feel, to just change direction all of a sudden. Now, if you do want to get these figures, that's another problem. Some of these guys can be a little hard to come by. Starscream, he's not very expensive on the aftermarket. You can get him pretty inexpensively. But Thundercracker and Skywarp, of course, were Target exclusives back when they came out, so they're definitely going to be harder to get a hold of. Thrust is getting reissued right now, so you can find him at Target or order him online, which is really nice. Dirge, I saw him on Amazon pretty inexpensively. Ramjet, I've seen him on eBay and probably Amazon pretty inexpensively. So there's your options if you do want to get these figures, but as I said, my recommendation, just wait and get the 86 mold. But if you do want to get these figures, that's what I recommend. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this review. I am glad to be done talking about this mold, hopefully forever, because it took way too many takes to get it right. Anyway, let me know what you think of these figures down in the comments, and if you like this video, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, and God bless.